Detectives in Manatee County are trying to figure out what set off a man to kill 3 women last night, including his mother and cousin. They say Javontee Brice also nearly fled the state to kill an ex-girlfriend in Georgia.
This is Love Hurts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for future content.
My sadness grows as my trust fades away in the midnight dust. My love is enveloped, yearning for hope from the angels who dance freely in waters of the oceans when sunset sets. Morning dew turns into frozen dew due to the bees running out of honeydew. Butterflies becoming angry due to the decreasing of dragonflies. I adorn the ornament of life until life stings like a hornet. Now my madness sings like a hurricane. My heart and brain filled with trauma and pain. Life is heavy and heaven is scary. What goes up must comes down. I am not a shooting star, but many people played my love like a guitar, while others listened while smoking their cigars. Wanting to slit and slice their throats and drive them to the Atlantic Ocean on a speedboat and watch them sink until they meet the slaves who built this ruined but still existing world. Soul going through every season of pain, but in a week I can't sleep, even with sleep aid. I'll accept a box of band-aids because life is temporary anyway.
28-year-old Javontee Brice was a troubled soul. He had struggled with mental health most of his adult life. His family and most of his friends were well aware of the fact that Javontee was battling some serious demons. Yet somehow he was still able to father an estimate 12 children with almost as many different women. Sources say the ladies loved him, and he was a complete ladies' man. By the time these ladies learned the truth about Javontee's mental health, it was too late. They were already pregnant or had had a child by him. Javontee often talked about ending his life. He even made multiple attempts to do so. His family tried to get him help plenty of times and on plenty of different occasions, even getting him involuntarily committed to a mental health facility on a few occasions. But once he was released, he would never follow up with treatment. His mental health just slowly declined as time went on. It wasn't hard to see that he was traveling on a one-way track to nowhere, but nobody suspected he would snap the way that he did on June 24th of 2024. On the night of June 24th, police say Javontee went on a killing spree, targeting the women in his family and his children's mothers. During his vicious rampage, police say he gunned down 3 women, including his own mother, his cousin, and an ex-girlfriend's new partner. The tragedy began early in the day when Javontee first went to an apartment complex in Palmetto, Florida, where his sister and an ex-girlfriend were located. Reports state that after entering the apartment, Javontee looked at his ex-girlfriend and said, "I have to kill you." Somehow, his sister was able to talk him down and talk him out of shooting his ex-girlfriend. She told police that Javontee was acting very strange. At one point, he even asked her if he could take a shower, but she declined. Finally, she was able to get him out of her home, at which point police say he left and he headed to a Motel 6 in Bradenton, Florida, where his 48-year-old mother, affectionately known as Pi, was living with his 2 young sisters and her boyfriend. It's reported that around 9:15 p.m., Javontee walked into the hotel room, looked at his mom, and said, "I'm sorry." When she asked, "What for? What did you do?" he shot her 3 times in front of her boyfriend and his 2 young juvenile sisters. Javontee was just getting started. After he fled the hotel, he drove back to Palmetto, Florida, where some of his family members had gathered at a home for a barbecue. Authorities say one of those family members was Javontee's cousin, 29-year-old Sequoia Brice. She was there celebrating her 29th birthday. Koya was affectionately known as Coco. She was the mother of 2 young boys, and her sons were her entire life and her entire world. Everything she did was for her boys. Their father passed away in 2020, and from that point on, Koya vowed to make sure that her children never went without. Whether it was clothes, toys, food, or affection, she had plenty for her babies. She was a beautiful person both inside and out. Unfortunately, she was right dead smack in the path of a crazed maniac, her own cousin. Police say Javontee arrived at the home where Koya was celebrating her birthday at around 9:40 p.m. And when he arrived, she was sitting in her vehicle getting ready to leave. They say he walked up on the vehicle and fired shots. Police were dispatched immediately, and although they attempted to save her life, she succumbed to her injuries about an hour later, leaving two small young boys without a mother and a father. After killing his own cousin, Javontee drove back to Bradenton to the home of an ex-girlfriend. He arrived around 10 p.m. There, he shot and killed 31-year-old Sherelle Carter, also known as Pig. Police say she was the new partner of his ex-girlfriend. Although some sources online have reported that Pig or his ex-girlfriend were pregnant at the time by him, that information has not been confirmed. What we do know for sure is that Pig was loved by many. She was literally everybody's favorite. She was popular, lively, and fun-loving. Pig was the turn-up. She was always the life of the party. If you were lucky enough to be in her presence for any amount of time, you were guaranteed to walk away loving her. She was extremely supportive of all her friends and family. She was just vibrant, funny, and full of life. And she lived every moment to the fullest, only to be taken out by someone who clearly had lost their mind. At this point, 3 ladies with a connection to Javontee were all killed within an hour. And the worst part about it all is Javontee made social media posts as he killed each victim. He was literally telling the world his next move, post by post. In one Facebook message, he wrote, "I love you, Koya Brice. I'll see you in hell." And in another post, he wrote, "Pig, I love you, but you had to go." Many online thought he was just trolling at first, but as news started to spread that every person he mentioned in his post had been shot, everyone knew it wasn't a game. People started commenting on his post trying to talk him down, but by that point, it was too late. After the murder of Pig, police say Javontee hit the road and he was on his way to Georgia to kill an ex-girlfriend. But luckily, the police put out an APB on his vehicle and they spotted him and pulled him over. When he was stopped, he immediately got out of the car and began firing on officers. Of course, they fired back and ultimately killed him.
Detectives in Manatee County are trying to figure out what set off a man to kill 3 women last night, including his mother and cousin. They say Javontee Brice also nearly fled the state to kill an ex-girlfriend in Georgia before he died in a shootout with deputies. And that's not all. They believe Brice initially targeted a different ex-girlfriend in Palmetto until his sister talked him down.
At this Motel 6 around 9:17 Tuesday night, Christina Valentine's husband rushed to help 48-year-old Titi Maisha Scott.
People yelling, screaming, "He shot my mom, he shot my mom, somebody call 911.
Deputies say Scott's own son, 28-year-old Javontee Brice, pulled the trigger. 23 minutes later, deputies were called to this home off 26th Street Court East in Palmetto.
I heard a pop.
Deputies say he killed his cousin, 29-year-old Sequoia Brice, as she was leaving a family cookout.
That's when I seen 2 people out there and they're going, "Oh my God, they're on the ground."
24 minutes later, deputies say Brice drove to an apartment complex in Bradenton off 51st Street Circle West, where he killed an ex-girlfriend's new partner, Sherelle Carter.
He seemed to have an agenda. He knew exactly who he wanted to kill, and he did not have a hard time locating them.
Deputies sent out a bolo after learning Brice was traveling to Georgia, where another ex-girlfriend lived. Hamilton County deputies tried to pull him over, but Brice came out shooting. Deputies shot back, killing him. But records show Brice had struggled with his mental health. 2 risk protection orders were filed against him in 2021 and 2023. In them, it states he tried to commit suicide at least twice. Deputies are trying to piece together what was going through his mind the night of his rampage.
This family is devastated. This is going to be a very difficult thing for them to overcome.
Such a sad, sad story. My heart truly goes out to everyone that is affected by this tragedy. It's unfortunate that Javontee pretty much slipped through the system and his mental health status was never fully addressed. Mental health is real. If you know someone that's struggling, or if you yourself are struggling, please reach out for help. As always, loves, stay safe. Don't forget to subscribe, thumbs up, and hit the notification bell for future content.